Hey everyone, it's Intel here, and in this video, I wanted to talk about a topic that's been on my mind a lot recently, and that is about the whole death of Bedwars that a lot of people have been speculating. So I've seen a lot of people, including content creators even, say on places like Twitter that Bedwars is dying or that the game is already dead. And while I do think that a lot of people can agree that this is very overdramatic, I mean Bedwars is still easily maintaining over 10,000 concurrent players most of the time, I do think that there is legitimate reason for concern that Bedwars could die in the future, and that's what I wanted to talk about in this video. I do want to say though, before I get into this topic, that I know a lot of you guys are anticipating my Bedwars guide video that I've been working on. I know I said that it was going to be my next video, but there's still a lot of work to be done with it. It'll probably be the video after this one. I'm sorry for delaying it, and I appreciate your all's patience with that. Trust me, it is going to be worth the wait though. This is easily the best video that I'm ever going to upload on my channel. It's really good, and I can't wait for you guys to see it. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get back to the matter at hand, the death of Bedwars, and why I think it could happen in the future. Before we get into the death of Bedwars, I want to take a look at the decline of Hypixel's once most popular game mode, Skywars. Around 5 or 6 years ago, Skywars used to be the most popular game on Hypixel and the biggest PvP-based game mode in multiplayer at the time. You had massive content creators back in the day like Technoblade, RIP Techno by the way, who were pulling millions of views from this game mode, and if you were to tell any player at the time that Skywars was eventually gonna die, then they'd probably laugh at you. Nowadays though, it's no secret that Skywars has had a pretty massive decline. It's nowhere near Hypixel's largest game mode now, and game modes like Duels and literally Hypixel Housing usually have more concurrent players than it nowadays. So how did Skywars fall so far down the ranks? And while I'm sure that there's a lot of factors that you can attribute to their decline that other YouTubers have probably covered, a big talking point that I want to discuss in this video is how Skywars was and still is an unchanging game mode. So what do I mean when I say that Skywars is an unchanging game mode? While yes, they do have a few changes every now and then, like some new maps or some kit reworks, the gameplay in Skywars has pretty much stayed the same over the course of years. Because of that, all the features that exist in Skywars that turns players away from the game don't get changed, and there's a lack of new content being added to the game that would help attract newer players. Now, this is a pretty bold statement to make about the decline of Skywars, but to explain my reasoning, let me compare it to some other games outside of Minecraft. One game that has a completely different business model than what you see from games like Skywars or Bedwars is Fortnite. Fortnite is constantly changing their gameplay and their meta by utilizing a seasonal system. If you didn't know, Fortnite has a new season every few months or so that considerably changes the gameplay within the game. Because of this, Fortnite is a constantly changing and evolving game, and if you take a look at the very first season of Fortnite and compare it to its current season, the gameplay and the meta is entirely different. This whole seasonal structure that Fortnite has adapted has been insanely successful for them. Fortnite is still one of the most played PC games in 2022, and a lot of other big games have taken notice of this business model. Having new seasons that constantly refreshes and changes the gameplay and the meta for PvP-based video games has been pretty much the standard going into 2022. These big games know that if they don't make changes to the gameplay and the meta and keep adding new content to their games, then their games are eventually going to become stale for their players and they'll end up seeing a decline in their player base. While Skywars does have a lot of problems to it, like the cheating problem or competition among other Hypixel game modes, I believe that Skywars wouldn't have seen as big of a decline if they just refreshed their game mode more and changed the meta more often. Bedwars has this exact same problem where the gameplay is unchanging. Besides the different map rotations every now and then and a few different item repricing every once in a while, the gameplay in Bedwars has pretty much been exactly the same for years now. Items like Invis Potions have always been one of the most meta items for good players to use, and that has pretty much never changed. This constantly unchanging gameplay is a business model that most big games choose to avoid because it's a doomed business model. And it's not like Hypixel doesn't have the ability to refresh their games. They're literally the biggest Minecraft server in the world. They definitely have the resources to make changes to their games if they wanted to, but Hypixel is so reserved with what they change in their games that they would rather see Skywars decline by thousands of players than to even attempt to refresh its gameplay in hopes of attracting new players. This is why I think if Hypixel doesn't change the way that they're going about things, Bedwars will eventually die because they suffer from the same doomed business model that Skywars did. What I think that would benefit Bedwars a ton in the long run is to introduce the same seasonal structure that you see from other big multiplayer games outside of Minecraft. I think Bedwars has so much potential to make this work. Imagine if every few months or so, Bedwars had a new season where instead of just new map rotations, you had completely new item shops, completely new items that change the meta with how the game is played, possibly even new generators around the map for you to collect different resources to get different types of items. The potential is there, and there's a lot of things that you can do to keep the gameplay refreshing every season. One of the downsides about going with a seasonal structure is is that yes, some seasons will be misses and some players might not enjoy them as much, but I think that in the long run, having a system like this would really help expand the longevity of Bedwars as a game mode. As it is currently, there's no doubt in my mind that Bedwars will eventually see the same type of decline that Skywars did. I think a really smart thing that Hypixel could do is that instead of making this drastic of a change to Bedwars, they could keep Bedwars how it is right now and create a Bedwars 2.0 game mode. Players would have the option of playing what they're used to or trying a brand new seasonal based Bedwars game mode. And I think that over time, a seasonal based Bedwars game mode would eventually overtake the current existing Bedwars in player count. Not to mention, a Bedwars 2.0 game mode would generate so much hype for the community and offer so much content to content creators. But anyways, that's pretty much all I wanted to say in this video. Do you agree or disagree with me? Let me know in the comments. I'm really looking forward to reading what you guys have to say, so make sure to leave a comment. As always, if you enjoy my videos and you want to help support me as an individual content creator, then you can consider checking out my Lunar Client cosmetics in the description below. But with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.
I'll just Spike Rush, hide it.
We're to set it to competitive, it's still there.
Oh shit.
Who's dick riding you? Alright, but
So now, are you not gonna answer?
Element, yeah, I'll suck my mom, relax.
Like,
so you're saying your
come on,
mom's
this is rude.
important?
Yeah, I'm saying my mom's more important than you. I take a
Right,
bullet
you
for her.
It's your priorities.
It's tough.
You know, I would commit a federal crime for her.
I mean.